Hello.
Can we go?
Now?
Can we start now?
Now? How about now?
Is it after 3?
Now? Now?
Okay.
Now?
Welcome.
Now?
To
Not now. Now?
1.
Now? Not
Well, now. That was you're supposed to say welcome to Whiskey Vault. All right, count it again.
now?
3.
Welcome to the Whiskey Vault.
Go.
Get out of here.
Oh, okay.
What do we got?
We've got a gift from patron saint Bob Fincutter.
Ooh. Bob Fincutter, you patron saint of whiskey. Yeah.
The angels are singing again. Okay, so this is Whistling Hare Distillery.
It's got a beer growler type of top.
Yeah, Denver, Colorado, northern Denver.
Look at that.
Ish,
Northwest. It's not really a thing in whiskey, but they did it.
This guy is doing the whole grain to glass kind of thing. It's 1 year old at least.
Okay.
New charred oak.
Yeah.
Right? Blue corn bourbon.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if the mash bill is 100% blue corn, but when you read the bottle label, all it talks about is the blue corn.
I would suck if it was just a trait, like an accent of blue corn, and the rest was yellow dent. I don't smell.
Yeah.
I do not smell faults on the nose. It's actually a nice nose.
It is a little young. It definitely has that like cut grass, or not green, but hay.
If you're going into it within the context of a year, that's a nice year.
That's nice, kind of softened and a little bit honeyed granola and a little bit.
There's a cider quality to it. Yeah.
Yeah, citrusy apple direction.
Yeah.
Citrus.
Citrus, kind of a spritz citrus on top of a cider, and they got the
Zesty.
granola. Yeah. Man, for a year, that's pretty damn respectable of a nose.
I like it. I'm excited to see what that would do older, but I'm glad to get to drink it now too.
Mm-hmm. Anything else before we go in? Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. The nose is more progressed than the palate.
Yeah.
The palate
is
still young.
It's still compressed. The nose is opened up. It's giving you several different layers. The palate is still.
It's more new make than
tight.
age.
You can tell those flavors are starting to develop, but they're not quite there on the taste of it. They just feel kind of this crunch down, mushed against each other.
But again, no faults.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really delicious bourbon.
The very first microsecond on the tongue, there was a little burst of cinnamon.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna progress. I think the sweet melon candied notes that are in the beginning before the granola takes over, that's gonna progress. That granola is gonna soften. It's gonna get a little bit more of the toasted granola, toasted graham crackery kind of breadiness.
So second approach.
Nose is still nice.
Yeah, it developed a little bit more of that toasted sourdough bread. Is it toasted sourdough bread?
I don't know.
Sometimes there's cinnamon on the bread, whatever it is. Cinnamon on that. Maybe it's graham cracker. You say graham cracker, it could be graham cracker.
Cinnamon on the bread.
Dude, you want to see
Video.
the most brutal heavy metal. I'm giving this a minute before we circle back. The most brutal heavy metal vocals in the history of metal. So the band is called Demolisher.
Okay.
And the song is called Slaughter to Prevail.
Okay.
You know what? Here's the thing. I can cut this out. Because I'm editing. It's not. I don't got to feel bad.
I have things to do. I don't want to watch music videos.
It's not the whole thing. I'm just gonna play this one part. All right. Ready?
Why? Oh, good. Now we've gone halftime. Okay, that's the halftime. It's the double kick followed by the halftime junkies. This is like every trite trope
All of the.
from all
You
music.
get all of
Just
the. It's such a brutal song.
thrown into one song.
Such a musician snob.
Let's live.
It's not about did they do
Let's
a
live
very
the
common thing.
caricature
It's
of
the
every
energy.
instrument.
It's the energy of the moment, and it is this whole. So I'm going to link in the description below. I'm going to timestamp it 3/4 of the way through the song, so you get right to the most brutal part. The most brutal parts.
It is lost on me.
Yeah. While I'm at it, I'm going to put another link in the description down below where the lead singer is wrestling a bear. It's just freaking amazing. While he's doing these amazing vocals at the beer.
Oh,
So good.
this is like if my 7-year-old invented what would be the most rock hardcore thing
That's
ever.
the point.
7-year-old.
See, I think the problem is you
7-year-old.
keep trying to
That's the point.
project an earnestness to it. It's the performance of it. It's the antics. It's the spectacle.
You know what it
of
is? It's if Conan O'Brien's show was a metal band.
You know what? This surprises me. This surprises me because somebody who's talking about like Aerosmith, right?
Yeah.
And you get up there, you open for Aerosmith. Very cool. And you get up there and you do your thing and like people are really happy. And then Aerosmith comes on there. And then what was the thing that put it over the edge? The fan and the scarf and the spectacle.
Yeah, no, but that's also laughable too. It's
And so is this. So is this.
Here's the difference.
What?
No,
It's the same thing in a different genre of music.
I'm not going to keep going because if I keep going on what I actually think, it's going to really hurt some people's feelings. Why can't
So
we
I
just
won,
listen
though.
to some good banjo?
So I won though.
I'm just kidding.
But basically what happened is you gave up and I won.
Sure, said the 7-year-old.
That's a double win. Because I'm not 7, I'm 41. Double win.
That's
Double win.
In one more year, you'll be a multiple of 7.
Double win. Wait, you can put 42 divided by 7 is that a thing?
This is why you aren't allowed to
3
proof
times.
down whiskey.
3 times.
Yeah. That seems like plenty. It's like, oh great, it's 30% now. That's not
More
even,
for me, bitches.
not even whiskey anymore. Still,
Okay.
it has not changed at all on the nose.
I get a little bit more candy corn.
Really?
Yeah, caramel and candy corn. I was not finding that before I was yelling at you. After I yelled at you a little bit, I got some caramel and candy corn.
And still, so the grain heaviness has sort of softened a little on the palate, but it's still very young.
Yeah.
But man, shows a lot of promise and really well distilled.
Yeah. So I really like the nose. The taste at this moment, it's good, but it has more potential than it is good.
Yeah, a little more boring.
Yeah.
Or simple. Maybe not boring.
It has more
simple.
potential than it is currently good at 1 year old, but in that direction, it's going to be great. Sequence 77. Personal aging barrels have been popular in my whiskey crew. I realize that whiskey doesn't age in the bottle, but I'm wondering if these small aging barrels actually have an effect on the spirit, and if so, what kind of effects? Is it worth doing so, or is it just a novelty? Yeah, it has an effect.
No.
Typically, people are going to have it in like an air-conditioned home. Oftentimes, it will not be the best coopered barrel, can spring leaks. It
Might
happened
leak,
to
yeah.
several friends of mine. Go ahead, and then I have a good alternative if people don't want to go full-on barrel.
Wood staves.
Yeah, little staves right in the bottle there.
Yeah,
Little
I like
spirals.
that too, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a lot cheaper to experiment.
Yeah.
Because so if you don't fill a barrel all the way, the evaporative loss is much higher.
Yeah.
And so you really need as many bottles as you can to fill the whole barrel. The smaller the barrel, the more wood to liquid ratio. And what you're going to accelerate is the wood tannins and the char impact. And so if what your whiskey is missing
Yeah.
is a wood tannin and a char note, it's going to complete it. But
And-
if your whiskey's already tanniny or wood charred, it's going to go all in.
We have Peat Lerobardieri. I think I got that.
Yeah, probably. By the way, real quick, the dude Joshua Goodsell
yeah.
in YouTube comments actually replied to that question really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought I heard something about Bricklotti's water tasting peated.
So a lot of people talk about this, and even the distilleries on their tours will be like, our water runs through the peat before we collect it and use it in our distillery, and you can taste it. Okay, yes, but that's very misleading.
Okay.
So the water does have the taste of what it ran through. That's why limestone water in Kentucky is important, or in Texas. It's mineral heavy. If you have non-mineral water areas, you got softer water that will absolutely affect the yeast. It affects the fermentations, and it will come through in cutting the whiskey, but it's really, really soft and mild.
Yeah.
Some things don't make it all the way through. However, when somebody says it runs through peat, what the general consumer thinks is
It's gonna taste
that's
peaty.
where the smoke comes from,
No.
peat, but when the water's running through peat, it's mud.
Yeah.
The smoke comes from burning dried mud.
Yeah.
Right?
There was a really cool, we were going through these fields, they ended up being peat fields, on the way to some distilleries in Isla. And we saw, there wasn't a crew out there working at that moment, but we saw just giant channels cut out of the earth where you see this solid wall of, that's where they just shave off peat, turn it into bricks.
Yep.
We're just driving through, it's like, holy hell, that's where
That's
they're
where it comes
getting
from.
all the peat, yeah.
Yeah, so when the water runs through that, it's no different than water running through any mud.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to pick up things, but it's going to change. It's more going to change the pH and the mineral values of the water, which will impact the flavor. But
I mean, that
smoke only comes from burning things.
Yeah, that peat flavor that people are thinking about in whiskey.
Not
that,
from water.
It has to come from the smoke. I mean, even if you bite into a brick of dried peat,
It tastes like dirt.
it does taste like dirt. I've done it. It's dirt.
Yeah.
But once you burn it, then finally you get that peaty quality. Yeah. I went back. I finally got a little bit of a cherry note showing up there, but it's still, it's young.
This is going to be good.
It's a little brash, but at a year old, of course it is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens next.
Yeah. Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight me, I fight for a friend.
Steal, may you steal your lover's heart.
And if you drink,
Now you drink it.